Hi guys, Martin Curry from Belief Media. You're looking at the default website framework installation at the moment. We're scrolling down towards the entry panel. So a panel is a form and a lead magnet or an asset side by side. In this case it's a form here, and in our case just a picture. In your case it'll be a picture of a first time buyer guide, a investor guide, or a checklist or something similar. Now, form escalation and panel escalation, what is it? What does it do? In this video we're going to go through how it works, how to manufacture the escalation cycle, and what it looks like. So we're going to take the effectively, emulate the customer journey to a certain extent and have a look at what it feels like for them. So this is a really big topic, guys, but it's also really important. It leans into a lot of the practical funnel applications, the things that are going to explode your conversions, certainly in the back end of the funnel, so the follow-up and so on. In the subsequent video, we're going to look at a feature associated with Switch, which I think is now the single most important feature to associate with a landing page. I may touch on it in this. I'm not sure where this video will take me. So what is form and panel escalation? Okay, here we have this form. It's showing my name and email here in the form, and that's because I've previously subscribed to a form on this demo website. As soon as you subscribe to a form of any type, we remember your details. You never want to ask for details a second time, guys. I see it all the time, particularly with what we call, the lower tiered Facebook experiences, where people send you from an ad to a landing page, a bunch of questions which don't do anything, and then they'll send you off to a calendar form. That's kind of what everybody in the market is selling. It doesn't matter where you go. That's the flow that they'll sell you as a funnel. That's not a funnel, right? That's a subscription form that sends you to a calendar. The calendar's not integrated, the form's not integrated, it's a load of BS. It's a funnel blocking exercise I could go over and over. You're probably sick of hearing it, so I'm not going to go into it. But there are a couple of things right now I'll just mention. Okay, first of all, you'll notice that there's a calendar integrated form associated with this panel. So this is populated from Microsoft Outlook, and based on your availability times. And if a user provides those details, then that will send through to your Outlook calendar. When do you use a calendar associated with a form? On every single page. Like if I just, I've got another page here, I'll pull up in just a second. But look, forms are on every single page of your website. Every single page on your website is a potential organic entry point. People come from anywhere for any reason. Social partners, organic referrals, paid promotion, all sorts of stuff. And the page they land on is the page that needs to convert. So obviously we have really good and highly functional dedicated landing pages. There's two types of landing pages, in fact, and they serve a very specific purpose. Now, excuse me. So they serve a very specific purpose, but every page on your website should still have, very core conversion-focused assets that contribute towards funnel escalation and escalation of commitment. Escalation of commitment is the dedication someone has towards a customer journey. So essentially their temperature in the funnel. So this is called a panel. A panel is like I said, a form and a subscription something, or something towards the right-hand side, whether that be an image or a video or a block or whatever. I'll talk about a block in a second. And that's separate to, we'll just pull up an FAQ here, which is just the naked subscription form. In this case, we've got the image here. So a subscription form is just vertical, that's all. It's just, there's nothing side by side. So it's always going to be shown in a vertical format. In this case, we've assigned an image to the form, and we've also assigned a block of text. You can assign a block of text below. All the attributes here are customizable, so the button text, the colors, the calendar format, the fields that are shown, the icon colors, everything. So it's a very functional and highly integrated solution. Now, while we've got the calendar here in this little drop-down menu, I will open up the booking page just to give you an idea of. I've shown this a couple of times in various videos, because you can, in essence, show an open calendar on every page if you wanted to. Not that we'd endorse it. I don't think it's ever been tested on internal pages like in your FAQ module or anything like that, but I can't see it. It is at the bottom of the page. It's probably worth testing. So here it is here, and you select your date and time. It's an alternative to Calendly, and it is integrated, guys. It is fully integrated with your website. So there's a whole bunch of funnel-centric features that apply on the basis of someone subscribing to that. I guess I should say form escalation is part of this process. Now, again, what is form escalation? That is, if somebody subscribes to this form right now, if I subscribe to this form, and I will in a moment, a user has obtained the book, they've downloaded whatever. It's they don't need to download that again. They don't need to see this offer again. In fact, continuing to show the same form competes head-on with our escalation of commitment ideology. We want to show people different stuff. We want to engage them in different ways. So we'll show them a different form, and that is escalation. Once we show them a different form, if they subscribe to that, we'll show them a different form all over again. And you can effectively have an infinite number of forms that pile on top of each other. Once they reach the end, we just show them the original form all over again. Very few people, if you're using an escalation cycle on forms, so a funnel, or a subscription form escalation cycle, it's very uncommon for somebody to proceed beyond the third subscription. And look, guys, you want to review our FAQs. There are so many different ways of doing this. If you have an FAQ, you can have a button in line. If we know who the individual is because they've previously subscribed to an experience, we can have a conditional form within funnel content, or in page content here, sorry, that just has a button that says send to, martinatbeliefmedia.com.au, and you click that button and it sends. We don't need to ask them for name and phone number and all that sort of silly stuff all over again. So what we'll do, first thing we'll do is we'll jump into Yabbo, in fact, and we'll have a look at how the escalation cycle is created. Now, this is part of a really broad conditional framework. Conditional framework, guys, is really extensive, right? It's probably not used by a huge number of brokers because it can become quite complex in terms of the amount of information that is necessary to create in order to have a compelling experience. But the focus is that the website learns your behavior, so it identifies either an interest or a borrowing objective or anything else associated with your browsing habits or behavior, and we're able to then serve them content that is most suited to them. Remember, the funnel is a digital conversation. It's a digital back and forth. So we have to respond to what the user tells us. How does the user communicate with us in the funnel? They click on buttons, they view pages, they click links, they click on modals, they subscribe to forms, they do a whole bunch of different things. And each of those things, each of those actions is a signal. And each of those signals is associated with an interest or something similar. So we soon build up a user profile, and we're able then to craft the website in such a way that it shows relevant content. If we determine that someone is a first home buyer, we're able to show them first home buyer information. In fact, part of the conditional framework is if we're able to resolve the state they're in, we're able to show them geographically relevant first home buyer information and so on. All of that sort of stuff is kind of turnkey, if you like it's a default feature. That functionality doesn't have to be applied by a user, but there are some things that do. Form escalation is one of them, because in those cases, you will just have a single form. And that's kind of that. You'll put a lot of effort into the back end, you know, the content that is supplied to a user once they subscribe to something, you know, the follow-up emails, text messages, voice drops, and things like that. You'll always send them back to your website. The form escalation itself is certainly not a necessity. Once your marketing matures a little and you decide to put a little bit more effort in, it does really does have an impact, a significant impact on your conversions. Now, when don't we escalate? This is important to say right now, on landing pages, because a landing page is a page with a specific objective, and there is a clear asset or form that's assigned to that page. So we don't alter the form of a subscription experience for landing pages. We mute that. So let's jump back into Yabba. I'll come back and talk about that because it's interesting stuff, guys. Well, it's interesting for nerds anyhow. So you can select the conditional module via the website menu here. It's easier just to select website up the top and select conditional. This will take you down a rabbit hole because there's an enormous amount of information. It controls BNet, which is the parent AI that sits as an Apache service above your website and identifies browsing behavior in that way. It includes the switch modules and so on, conditional content itself. We're interested in this first option here up the top called escalation. So this option right here. Now I'm going to select that. Now, the escalation that applies to panels and forms is exactly the same. All right, so I'm going to show the escalation cycle that applies to a panel here, but it applies in exactly the same way for a form. So you basically repeat the process. The only difference is we have form escalation and panel escalation. Remember, I am escalating a panel here, so I will select panel escalation. We'll just give that a moment. All right, select website. Website is necessary because forms are associated with a website. They never used to be. Select simple panel. The panels used to be called simple panels. I don't really know why, but now they're just called panels. So the first thing to do is we need to select the very first form that is shown. Now, in this case, I think this one is just called, in fact, I don't remember. I'll have to have a look here. In fact, I think it's the one there, Finance Marketing Guide with book image. And then it shows what the asset is. If there's a video assigned to the panel, it will say video. If there's a block assigned to the panel, it'll say block, and so on. But in this case, that panel, that pairing of the subscription form and the asset to the right-hand side is this one here. I'm going to select that, and it brings up a whole bunch of other panels that are available to me. In this case, I've got a second form here called Demo Simple Panel to Delete. Obviously, that's just, you know, for my reference. And panel with video demo. And we might keep those there, but if you wanted to change these, you just simply drag these around and switch them on and off as required. So if they are switched on, then that will be applied to the escalation cycle. Or you can also turn them off. If everything's off, then no escalation will be applied. Once done, and once you've set this escalation cycle, remembering these are panels that will be shown after this first panel is subscribed to. So someone will subscribe to this. Once they've subscribed to that, they'll see this form. Once they've subscribed to that, they'll see this form, and so on, and so on, and so on. Let's save that. Okay, we've just saved that in Yabba. We do have to update our website. Remember, this is a multi-website system. You can run 10,000 websites on Yabba and share the same information across all of them. It's built for aggregation groups and franchises and all sorts of things. So we do have to select the website and then select that button. That button should be green now. We're trying to change the colors when we're updating the website directly. So that's been updated. And that has sent an enormous amount of information to your website. So it basically refreshes all the conditional rules that are applied programmatically from within Yabba. You don't have to worry about that too much. All you have to understand at this stage is that has updated that escalation cycle we looked at previously. So now we've done that, let's have a look at subscribing to this form. Now, when I subscribe to this, under normal circumstances, we'll get a conditional redirect. That is, the redirect will apply on the basis of a subscriber, somebody that provides a phone number, and somebody that provides a calendar booking. The reason being is, excuse me, continuing with my cough, is again the funnel, and certainly the subscription is a digital conversation. It's a digital handshake, and we have to respond to user inputs. We don't assume, we don't make assumptions with what the user should see on a second page, for example. We always have to tailor that. We have to customize the experience as best we can based on our understanding of what they're interested in or what they've just done. What comes next is an underlying thing in funnels. We always ask what comes next, and in this case, I think it applies a redirect to an off-site URL, which was used for another demo video. So in any case, let's have a look, just so you know what form this is, because I think the next one is very similar. The important thing is here, we've got demo content above, demo content above. We've got all this funny text here. It doesn't mean anything, and this guide. So I'm going to send that. Form was submitted, or successfully submitted. That's going to apply a redirect. Normally you'd have customized text in there or something. You can apply a delay of your liking. There's so many options that apply with this redirect. And that's actually sent us to our website. Now that was just because of the test. So normally it would apply a conditional redirect. So I'll hit the back button again, and that will take us here. And now look, okay, this form has changed. All right, we've previously subscribed to the default form on that page, and now it's showing us a second form here. In this case, it's showing us a video. So if a user is coming back to your website, they're now going to see a different form with a video. Remember, their details are populated as they should be. You can have the option, if someone's coming back on the second or third go, you can remove this little button and just have the calendar open if they have not already actively made a booking. If they've made a booking, you can eliminate this entirely. And I'll go through calendar stuff another time. Now, I'm going to subscribe to this form. I don't know where this will take me, so we'll just give it a second. Now, the amount of information being stored on Yabba, by the way, is really extensive. We know everything about a user, everything. So that's sent us back to Beelearn on our website. So this is all sending us off-site. You can ignore the redirects that have been applied here. I'm going to go back to that same page. And again, right, this is the third form that's been shown. All right, because we've subscribed to two of them. The escalation cycle now is at its end point. So this is the last form that's shown in our escalation cycle. Remember, we only applied 3. I'll select it again just so you can have a look. I'll need to select a website there, won't I? I've got to refresh this silly page. So, there we go. So I'll pull that back up there, and that'll just show you we've had the finance marketing guide with the book image, demo, simple panel to delete, and panel with video demo. All right, so that's pulled up those 3 there. This is really important. If the conditional engine thinks you should see one form before another, so it makes the decision for you, it will do that. And I think it did it in this case. But in 99% of cases, the escalation cycle will apply exactly as you have defined it. But I've just had so much activity on our demo site that it knows a little bit about me and it wants me to see a video and doesn't want me to download. What it knows is the identical book. So it didn't want to show that to me a second time, which is actually quite clever. And it does that in funny little ways, but you do need an enormous amount of activity on the site before it starts to resolve your objective and understand who you are. So that's an escalation. That's escalation of forms. It is an extremely powerful feature, guys. It applies in a really significant way on landing pages, because if you're giving away something on a landing page, now you'll find that, let me have a look here. I'll pull up just a resources page there. Landing pages are a real funny one, because traditionally lead magnets worked really well. There is a metamorphosis, there is a shift in consumer behavior where no one cares about PDFs anymore, and open AI like ChatGPT and other large language models has done away with a lot of the material that a lot of people manufacture, unless it's of enormous value. So downloading PDFs and checklists and things like that is not nearly as enticing as it once was. Now we've obviously provided. I've got to pull up a page here. What am I doing? There we go. So we do use step forms as well. You kind of have to pick your evil in this case. Step forms are not... no, gee, this is... I'm going down a rabbit hole here, and I'll just only dig myself in, a couple of inches before we sort of vacate the discussion. But the point with step forms is it has to do something, has to return something. You can't ask a form, you can't ask a client complete a form without returning information. And here we go, it's populated my information as you would expect, because I've previously subscribed to a form on this website. So we do provide information here. We provide comparative data, we provide immediate results, monthly payments and all sorts of things. If a user clicks on one of those links, it'll take them further down their own little rabbit hole, part of the escalation of commitment cycle, and it will deliver them to another page. Now, we don't put those links on landing pages, but we do deliver results. And the landing page stuff I'm going to go through another time. So these are the results, and based on the information I provided in the step form there, it's giving me a whole bunch of stuff. I haven't made a booking yet, so it's provided me with a calendar, which is integrated. Guys, the integrated calendar, the integrated forms is so ridiculously essential, right? It is so utterly, ridiculously essential. And I try and impress upon upon people in the industry all the time, because people use these third-party forms that are embedded with JavaScript and iframes and all sorts of dumb things. Half the time they don't work, but it's a funnel killer. You're not able to use the information that's submitted to enhance the actual website experience. So it's not performing the function that it's designed to, that it should be designed to perform. When we submit a form, we again, that's a strong signal. We know what someone's interested in. They're providing their name and email and phone number and everything else. So we're able to sort of shape the website around that and provide people with this dynamic, engaging and amazing experience that's tailored specifically to them. Now that is more evident in things like in our property modules, for example, for those running our real estate widgets. If somebody provides details for a purchase and they provide their purchase budget and all sorts of stuff, we're able to then provide repayments alongside all the homes on the basis of the information they've provided. That's kind of part of integration methodology. But it's deeper than that, and it's more significant than that. So that is kind of that as far as form escalation goes. Just while we're here, I will just show you very quickly, very quickly, just so you're familiar, when you're creating forms, they're manufactured within the website forms module. It's called Formly, and the entry page will actually give you the capacity to create a form straight away. So you select the owner and the website, and that allows you to populate the appropriate calendar and Microsoft contact folders and plans for Planner and things like that. And it gives you a whole range of options here. A lot of them are hidden. Things like SMS autoresponders are hidden because I personally don't like SMS autoresponders. I like voice drops after a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. So the first and second email, conditional redirects, the switch on the front page. Now, this is the next video I'll create, something on the switch. So when somebody, and this really, if you've watched the video this far, the next video is probably one of the most important videos I think I can make, certainly in relation to landing pages, because it is ignored by literally 100% of the industry. And that is, if somebody subscribed to a form, say a nursing form, an allied health form, or a doctor's form, as people do, this is a purpose-built landing page, and it's positioned to take advantage of a specific niche, so a specific segment of the market. If somebody submits a page on a page that is built for doctors or built for nurses, we will change the front page into a page that is most suitable for them. So when we send them back to the website, as we invariably will do in our post-subscription follow-up, so in the nested funnel experience, when we send them back to our website, our front page will say experts for medical professionals, this, that, the other thing, 95, in some cases 100% lend. We can show the lower rates if we need to. We can do all those sorts of things we need to do in order to escalate and engage that traffic. So I think it's the one feature. I think if you don't use that on landing pages in this day and age, you're simply throwing money down the drain. Okay. Anyway, so I'll come back to that, but this is creating a form. Now, when we create a panel, remembering the panel is the side-by-side gig we have here, I'll just pull up panels, and what we do in this case is, I'll just pull up our site, and you give your panel a name, you select the subscription form, hide conversion asset and mobile. I won't go into that just now, but you can select an image or a YouTube video or a Wistia video. You just select the video you want beside the form. It's really, really easy to do. Or you can have block content, which is something else I go into another video, and so on. And then you just save that. Of course, you will assign all these panels and everything else on every single page of your website. We do have most of these archives and page types and post types listed. So you can simply say, okay, on my social media archive, I want that image, that panel shown, and I want that panel shown there, that panel shown on this thing, and so on. So it's very tailored, it's highly targeted and extremely effective. But this whole experience has to be shaped around conversions. You know, a lot of people talk, we say all the time, a lot of people talk about a website that converts, and no one knows what that actually means. It kind of frustrates me a little bit because nobody puts those basic elements in place that we know improve upon conversions. If we know that they work, why don't more people do it? And why is it not a default feature on most mortgage broker websites where you deal with such a broad market, but it's niched via policy? So you do have different policies for police, firefighters, healthcare workers, nurses, allied health, doctors, engineers, IT professionals. All those groups are dealt with very differently via different lender policies. So we have to be able to customize our website experience and present people with information that is relevant. Remember, relevance and attention is a key funnel commodity, right? You maintain the attention of the user by delivering relevance. So the more relevant the information, the more likely they are to stick and convert and follow on other pages and so on. So it's a really big topic, super simple to do. Like, I know I rant on a lot, and occasionally things might seem a little bit complicated and everything else, but our webinar series, which is done in a very step-by-step format, really talks people through slowly. But we take baby steps through all these different processes and why we use them and how they work and why they work. And then you can optionally implement things like the form escalation that I've just discussed, because it's not necessary. Yes, it will improve upon your conversions, but it's not necessary. If you do it, you'll be one of the 0.01% of brokers in the industry that applies that much detail to your funnel, because nobody cares. But it does improve upon the experience. So the next video the next video I create will be on this switch module. And the switch module is just extraordinarily effective when it comes to landing pages. And again, if it's a video to watch, and it's a video to watch out for, because if you are not using a similar feature and you don't have that sort of functionality within your own paid promotion, certainly off the tail end of a landing page, then the landing page experience is nullified. It's not achieving the conversions that it needs to convert. That doesn't really make sense, but it's not achieving the results that it is capable of delivering to you. So you're not maximizing your ROI. Anyway, guys, my name is Martin Curry from Belief Media. My telephone number, call or text at any time on 0400 777 300. Our website, beliefmedia.com.au. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.